what's the difference between me and you? What's the difference between a normal person and somebody who's successful, somebody who's a millionaire or multimillionaire? How long does it actually take you? Her specific words was, how long does it take you to make a decision? And I thought about it for about that long, and then I said about that long. And she said, well, I'm always looking at, the things that could happen and what ifs and my current situation, and it takes me a really long time to make decisions, so how come it only takes you this long? And here's the reason why it takes successful people such a short amount of time to make decisions. See, normal people think about all the things that could go wrong. They think, how do I solve those? What's going to happen to me? What will my friends and family think? What's happened to me in the past? And then, after they think about all those things, which are all painful, and usually take a very long time, then they make the decision. Okay? Now, successful people, when you come up with an idea, or they need to make a decision, the first thing they do is they check their gut. Okay? They check their gut, and then they check their heart, and then they check their brain, in those orders. Okay? And if they feel like it's a good idea, then the first thing they do is they say yes. Okay? They don't start thinking about all the other things that go on. They say, is this a good idea? Yes or no. There's really no gray area. It's just yes or no. And they go, yes. Okay, it's a good idea. So now, what they do is they find all the things that they're actually going to need to accomplish this idea or this decision. And if the things that they need to accomplish it don't exist, then they create them. That's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. See, there's no such thing really as a bad plan. There's just bad ideas. Okay, so what you want to figure out first is this a good idea? Make a decision, yes, I'm going to do it. Yes, I'm going to follow through. And then go about finding the ways to make it happen. See, unsuccessful people do it the other way around. They think about all the ways that it's going to need and the complexities and the stress and the drama and the whatever. And then after they've thought about all those things for a gazillion years, and then they decide whether or not they're going to do it or not. If it's a bad idea, great. You wasted a whole bunch of time. If it's a good idea, somebody else probably already stole it from you because you were wasting so much time. Okay? Ask yourself, when you're making a decision, ask yourself, is this decision or this action going to take me closer to my goal or further away from my goal? That's how I always break everything down. I know what my goals are. If you don't know what your goals are, that can be a big problem too. Your goals have to be very clear. Your mission has to be very clear. And if those things are clear, then when you ask yourself, is this going to take me closer to my goal or further away from my goal, it's a very easy decision. Now, all the other things of what you're going to need to make it happen and who you're going to have to, talk to and the resources you're going to require, those things are irrelevant. You have to make the decision first anyway. So just ask yourself, closer or further. Okay, if it's closer, just say yes, I'll do it. And then you go find the things that are going to actually make that happen. There's a very famous saying, I don't even know who made it up, but I have all these famous sayings in my head from people that I've learned from over the years. And it says, successful people make decisions very quickly, and they change their minds very slowly. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Successful people make decisions very quickly, and they change their minds very slowly. Why is that? Because of what I said. They trust their gut. They're like, boom, that's a good idea. I'm in. Now I'm going to find the ways to make it a reality. And if they already know that it's a good idea, they're very stubborn. They're very hard to change their mind about whether or not they want to do it or not because they already made the decision. It already fits in with their clarity of purpose and clarity of mission. So not only do an extraordinary amount of things have to go wrong for them to change their mind, they have to be told by a lot of people who they emulate, who the results that they have. So it's very rare that successful people change their mind. They just keep going and going and going until they succeed and they finish their goal. So that was a cool concept. 5 years ago, when I got started, and like I said, it took me 8 to 10 months to really start to make some legway. I remember it was December. It was right before Christmas. And I was now only working one job, but my wife was still working her part-time job, serving beer to drunken morons at the local Irish pub where I was actually bouncing still. And I was trying to make some headway. We were starting to see a little bit of results. So we made the decision that we needed to get her out of that environment. I didn't want her in that environment. I wanted her, taking care of my daughter and being at home with me and having that congruent family unit. So we made the decision that she was going to quit on Christmas Eve. So everything was going to work out great. Things were going to get better and better, and she was going to quit on Christmas Eve. But on December the 6th, which meant there was only 19 days left till Christmas, we had $142 left in the bank. Now, the conversation, or I guess the topic that I wrote in some of my emails tonight that I was going to cover tonight is, when is it time for you to say screw you to yourself? Okay? And that's the topic that this is. Okay? In many different occasions in my life, and in many different occasions in your life, you're going to get to a point where it looks like the circumstances have got so dire that they're out of your control. Okay? That the negativity is closing in, that times just are, circumstances that are happening are forcing you in a direction that you have no control of, that you can't get out of. It's almost like quicksand. Okay? Now, there are a lot of different times it's going to happen in your life. But there's a lot of different times as well that you get to make a choice. It just doesn't feel like you have a choice at that point, but you have to make it. Okay? And this is one of those points for me where I decided that I was going to change all of the things I was attracting to myself. I was going to change my attitude about everything, from my business to my prospects I was speaking to my sales experience, to my family experience, to everything. Because when I looked at the actual details, the quote-unquote facts, at $146 left in the bank, which doesn't leave you any money to buy Christmas presents, which doesn't mean that your wife can quit her job, which doesn't mean you're doing well, which means you really need to second guess what you're doing with your business. And I sat down on my couch, and at first I was extremely depressed. But then you have to ask yourself, who's in control of your emotions? So I decided being depressed isn't going to help. So I tried to be more positive, but I didn't get more positive. I got more angry. And then I decided I was going to roll with that, and instead of being angry, I got more determined. And then what I decided to do was I decided to voice, not only in my head, but actually in my living room with nobody around me, screw you, okay? Because I am done leading this life, okay? I am done bowing down to circumstances. I am done disappointing my wife. I am done disappointing myself. I am done disappointing my children. I am done playing this shitty, crappy game and playing on this roller coaster that's going round and round and round. I am done. Now, did that mean I had a solution? No. But that's the time when you draw a line in the sand. And you say, enough. Enough is enough. Screw you. And you might be talking to yourself. You might be talking to the universe. You might be talking to God. I don't care who you think you're talking to, but at some point in your life, you have to say, screw you. Because I'm not living this life anymore. And that's what I did that day. Okay? Now, did anything else different happen that day? No. Other than I felt better. Because I got it off my chest. And I made the decision that enough was enough, and I was going to be a different person. Now, do you know what happened the next day? A guy who had been on the fence for 2 months called me up, bought one of the products I was marketing, and made a $5,000 commission. All of a sudden, I could breathe. Okay? You know what happened 2 days later? Another person called up, bought the same product, I made another $5,000 commission. Now, not only could I breathe and I could smile. Then what ended up happening is it all began to avalanche. I had a $1,000 commission the next day, another $1,000 commission the next day, and all of a sudden I went from disappointing my wife, being depressed, being miserable, to telling my wife, it's okay, we're going to be fine, this is going to get really, really fun. Go quit your job. And that's what she did. She quit her job. Not only that, we bought great Christmas presents for the first time in our life for our friends and family. We got to breathe through Christmas for the first time in 5 years. And you know what happened in January? Not only did I tell myself, screw you, I changed it to another thing, and I changed it from screw you to I rule. Okay? And when I went into January, dumping all that baggage behind with I rule, then instead of making $12,000, I made $55,000. Okay? But I can't say for sure, no, I can say for sure, actually, think about it. I can say for sure that if I hadn't drawn the line in the sand and said, enough is enough is enough, then I wouldn't have made the 12 in December. I probably would have kept my wife working at her job. I would have been miserable, and I certainly wouldn't have made $55,000 in January, and I certainly wouldn't have made millions over the last 4 years. See, at the end of the day, we are all responsible for our own results every minute of every day. Every action you've taken in the past, every decision you've made, every person, friend, family, whatever you decide to surround yourself with, every environment you put yourself in, every business you've started and done well or failed or whatever, these are all your decisions. And when you give away responsibility to all of those things, and you say, it's not my fault, I'm in this position because of circumstance, then what you're also saying is, I don't have any power, therefore I can't change it. When you finally decide, I'm going to take responsibility, yes, I'm in this spot in my life, yes, it sucks, and screw you, I'm not doing it anymore because I'm going to make the decisions to change it, I'm going to change the flow of things, I'm going to change the energy, I'm going to change the money, I'm going to change my situation, that's when you'll start to see the difference. That's when you'll start to see the change.